Morning, bitches, and how's it going? My name's Kyle, and welcome into another episode of Random Shit with Kyle. 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 Anyways, if you're new here, hey, buckle up, bitches, because it's gonna be intense today. Alright, happy Friday. It really is Friday. Isn't that fun when it's a day I'm supposed to post and it's actually happening? I know, cute. We're getting there. Anyways, today, it's been a minute since we've done a Trans Shit Friday. So, welcome to it. Buckle up. Here we go. All right, so I mentioned in the last episode that I was going to talk about trans scientific things. I think I had mentioned DNA. It's not actually DNA. Anyways, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So trans things, trans animals, gay animals. I just feel like a lot of people don't know those things. So, first of all, there are gay animals. So if you didn't know that, let me educate you. It's actually pretty fucking fascinating. So, most species of animals have gay happenings. There are like penguins that have like completely monogamous gay relationships, and they raise a baby together and like whatever, like they raise like abandoned eggs together, and it's super sweet and super cute. But yeah, so they have like legit found relationships that last a long time, forever. It's adorable. Then dolphins. Dolphins are also homosexual, a lot of them, both female and male. Dolphins are also like one of the only animals that we know that has sex for pleasure rather than just for procreation or things like that. I feel like, though, we're kind of discovering that, like, the animals do it all the time, so do people, and it's not always for the end goal of children. So, I don't know. I feel like science is a little slow on that one. But anyways, yeah, okay, so there's a long laundry list of animals. Bonobos, which are a type of now I don't know exactly. Like, they're not a monkey, but they're not a gorilla. They're, you know what I'm talking about. Why can't I put my finger on what I'm trying to say? Anyways, you get my point. But they are, so that it says here that they are almost 99% genetically similar to humans, and homosexual encounters are more common than heterosexual ones. So there you go. Giraffes. Studies show that over 90% of sexual activity in giraffes is same-sex. Lions. Male lions have been observed nuzzling, caressing, and mounting each other. Wow, that got aggressive quick. Anyways, lots of birds, snow geese, black swans. So anyways, there's a ton. And it says that same-sex sexual behavior has been observed in over 1,500 species. It's more common in social species than it is in solitary ones, and it appears in males and females at around the same frequency. So, for those of you that did not know that gay things happen all over in the animal kingdom, there you go. It does. It's very common. I think we first discovered it with penguins and dolphins. Now, don't fucking quote me on that. I don't know. I did not dive that deep into this research. I've actually known those facts for a really long time. I did a project on different, like, dolphins and beluga whales and things like that in high school, and that's when I learned that there was some, homosexual activity happening. And that was a long ass time ago because I'm fucking old. So That fact has been out for a minute, and it's just funny to me that, like, especially the Christian people that are throwing those 6 Bible verses in people's face are talking about how, and nowhere in the animal kingdom do homosexuals exist, and it's like, actually, in almost all of the animal kingdom, yes, they do. Anyways, all right, so now, before we dive into the very fun and interesting part of transgender and non-binary animals, we will talk a little bit about the transgender findings that they have found scientifically. So, currently there is no specific DNA, though they have looked at a broader spectrum of genetics. That's where I was getting my words mixed up. But they've looked at a broader spectrum of genetics, and there are some genetic markers that indicate dysphoria, gender dysphoria. And gender dysphoria is the feeling of being in the wrong body, right? So, so there are some genetic markers that they can pinpoint with that, and more research is being developed. Currently, there is a study by one scientist who has studied 380 plus transgender women, so born male, transition to female, and has done studies on as many cis men, so born male, identifies as male, and has found different genetic markers within those, and is coming up with patterns of how that progresses. So anyways, it started in 2018 is when the study was released. So there, have been more people jumping in on that sort of study, and doing it on the opposite spectrum. So with people like me, so who are born female and transition to male and things like that. So those studies are out there and are currently being performed. Then they talk a lot about how there is, like, in the womb, there is estrogen and androgen that you get bathed in, and one of those is estrogen and the other one's testosterone. I don't know why it's not called testosterone, but whatever. Anyways, it's testosterone. And your brain is, like, bathed in that because you're swimming around in amniotic fluid and whatever. And that hormone is just, like, surging around in there. So everyone starts out in the womb as a female. Again, I don't know if you knew that, but that is a thing. Everyone starts out in the womb as a female. You get introduced to a different sex hormone partway through your transition in the womb, if you will. Then what happens is, at that point is when the estrogen or androgen hormone comes into the womb. And that's when your brain gets bathed in that hormone to help align all the things. Well, they suspect that, especially for, I guess for anybody really, but I have researched extensively on my end of things, which is female to male. So my body started out biologically female, right? And it didn't continue, but my brain got introduced to testosterone in the womb. Does that make sense of the things that are happening? So somewhere along the line, my body forgot to pick up the Y, the X and the Y that I needed in order for my body to actually transition as well. But my brain was bathed in testosterone in the womb. That's like a very largely accepted theory and has been for probably a decade or more. So they are, again, working on studies to continue to back those things up. That is a proven theory to a certain extent, and it is being continued to be researched. So, anyways, those are, in case you did not know that, there is actual scientific evidence that transgender people exist and that their reasoning can be scientifically monitored. Does that make sense? So, now we get to dive into transgender animals, and I'm very excited about it. So, lots of transgender and non-binary fish, sea things exist, right? So, clownfish can change from male to female willy-nilly whenever they feel like it, based upon their social situation. So, then there are, I don't know how to pronounce this fish name, WRASSES, wrasses, I would assume, but I don't know. Again, can change their gender based on social hierarchy, but also their reproduction. Like, they can have the babies or not, like that kind of a thing. Lots of fish. Sea bass, same thing. Moray eels. In fact, eels in general, kind of crazy. Did you know that we don't actually know how they reproduce at all? Like, we don't know when their cycle, they die and then rebirth. I don't fucking understand it. Anyways, you'll have to look up that deep dive on your own. It's insane. They can't figure it out. They don't understand. So that's, there you go. Spotted hyenas. These animals are considered pseudo-hermaphrodites. Wow, I can't say that word. Sorry, that one was too long. But it means that female spotted hyenas have external genitalia that resembles male spotted hyenas. That's interesting. Then there's other ones. Bees, cardinals, blue lobsters, certain butterflies, a lot more fish. So there are a bunch. But one of my favorites, we're going to get into it, this is one of my favorites, is female ducks. Okay? Biologically, female ducks. Born female, whatever. Did you know ducks only have one working ovary? I'm pretty sure they have two, but one of them don't work. Don't ask me why. Have no idea. So they have one working ovary, right? If, for any reason, that ovary becomes damaged. Now, ways it can become damaged. Disease, cancer, things like that, right? But also, if a duck goes too hard at it, it can damage the inside and damage the ovaries because of all of that. So if a duck is engaging in sexual activity too vigorously, which is usually called rape. So anyways, that can damage the ovary of the duck, the working ovary. And if a female duck has that happen, they can spontaneously, at will, whenever the fuck they feel like it, turn into a male duck. Their literal physical appearance will change. And they'll grow a dinghy. Yeah. They can actually fertilize eggs. They will be able to breed and fertilize eggs. So, I hope that blew your mind, because when I found that out, it blew my motherfucking mind. So, there are actual transgender ducks, and it's wild to me that not only does their, genitalia change, whatever, that honestly didn't shock me that much. It's the fact that, their feathers change. Their outward appearance to the world changes. And if you're on the TikTok, there is a gay farmer, and it's only apparent that I'm only telling you that he's gay because that's one of the easiest ways to look him up on the thing, but he is gay and it's adorable, and him and his partner run this farm. Anyways, blah, 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 moving on. But there's this gay farmer, and he has, one of his ducks is recently become transgender. And so he talks and he educates about this transgender duck, and I can't remember his name right now, but I think they changed his name from what it was to what it is now. Anyways, you'll have to look it up. I think you can search like transgender duck or like gay farmers and they'll pop up. He's adorable. He's got a little bit of a lisp. You'll know him when you see him. I feel like it. So anyways, I just thought that was so cool and interesting, and it made me feel validated. All of these things did. And when I found them out, it was like, okay, the world as a whole it's not as quote unquote black and white. It's not as biblical as I was taught. And it was just this like eye-opening experience to realize that like there are things in the world that have never been able to hear the words of quote unquote Jesus Christ and all of that at them. Like, you don't sit a dolphin down and say, do you have a moment to talk about Jesus Christ? Right? Like, they don't know about any of that. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand, even if they, whatever. But like, so they are just acting on how they feel and how they are their truest self. Like, that's the only goal of animals is to survive and to do what they want. Like, literally. So, after surviving, they get to do what they want. And I just thought that was so eye-opening that a lot of people's communication is full of shame and misunderstanding. So, take that for whatever you will. But gay animals, and my mind was fucking blown when I found out about trans and non-binary animals. I mean, there are lots of like worms and insects and things like that literally they don't have a sex. They are asexual. They can reproduce on their own, like that kind of a thing. So there are lots of things out there in the world like that. But when it's on such a small scale, but like a duck. I don't know, it's just so cool. A duck it's like big. It's significant. It felt like more than just an asexual worm to me. I don't know. It was a big deal. And so I'm glad that I could share that with you. I hope that it's a big deal to you. And I really do hope that it's mind-blowing, because it blew my mind when I found that out. It was just so cool. And so eye-opening. So anyways, I've said that like 50 times, but I really can't get over it. It helps validate, you know? Like, when you're transitioning, you are constantly like asking yourself, are you crazy? Because you constantly get told that you're crazy. And so at some point, you have to like look yourself in the mirror and be like, am I nuts? Why do I feel this way? It seems like no one else feels this way. It seems like this is so unnatural, right? And then when you find out that it is literally within nature, and it is literally like possible for a species to have sex changes of their own evolution while they are living one life, like, that is fucking crazy. So, anyways, that's that. And I do still, I've been out since I was 20, I'll be 35 in a couple of weeks. I've been out for 15 years as a trans man. I've been transitioning that whole entire time, because it's kind of a never-ending thing. But anyways, and I still, to this day, because of where I live and who I end up surrounding myself with, And the fact that I've worked in a lot of churches, I've gotten fired from churches for even supporting the gay community. Oh, and I recently found out that my ex-boss is trying to go around and tell the world that I'm trans and ruin my reputation in town, so that's real cute. But whatever. Anyways, most people know now anyway. It doesn't matter. But it just, you're always constantly being like, am I the crazy one? Like, what happened? Did I do something wrong? But knowing how you feel is very eye-opening. It's very scary. It's very empowering. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things on both sides of the spectrum. And you're sitting there going, I might be crazy, I guess, but I know how I feel. And if I had to live my life a different way, I would probably be dead. And that is when you know that you're doing the right thing. Because if I was living my life as a woman, I would not be here. I would have been dead. I don't think that I would have ever been actually brave enough to kill myself. I think that I would have been so apathetic about life that I would have continually put myself in risky situations in order to be dead by now. I think that I would have, done crazy drugs or, gotten drunk and driven. I mean, I did do that kind of crap when I was in my teens and things like that. And I didn't realize that I was apathetically suicidal. And I didn't realize that for a really long time, actually, until I was in therapy in my mid-20s, and I was explaining things that I had done in my teens and my early 20s and how I didn't want to do those anymore. And I finally felt like I had come to terms with being transgender and blah, 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 and I wanted to, actually live life. And they were like, well, I'm glad that you came to that conclusion because you were apathetically trying to kill yourself. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? I wasn't slitting my wrists or anything. And they were like, no, but you were putting yourself in situations that could have killed you, and you were totally fine with it. In fact, you were going and seeking those opportunities out. And that was kind of a wake-up call of like, oh shit. If I was, forced to live the life that I was living for much longer, I probably wouldn't be here. And that's a weird thing to think about. I mean, I legitimately did not think. If somebody had asked me, even when I was 28 years old, if I would make it to past 30, I would have told them no. On my 30th birthday, Claire threw me a huge birthday party in Louisiana, and we had already moved here, but we went back to Louisiana for my 30th birthday party because she knew that I didn't expect to make it to 30. She knew that I didn't expect to make it past 30. It still is a shock to me that I have made it this far, and it's a little bit crazy. So I am really trying hard to work on my purpose in life and to find something that is my purpose that also makes me money. So there's those things. And I'm not sure that I've landed on it yet. I do realize that I have a talent for artistic things. I also realize that I have a talent for singing. I'm very good at singing. I also realize that I have a talent for leading people and groups of people and music, conducting people. And I have a very unique perspective on the world. And I think that all of those things need to be shared. And I'm just not entirely sure how to do it or how to go about it. in the best way that makes the most impact. Um, I just feel like I have a lot now that I can give to the world, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it. And for a person who has never thought of the future because they could barely function and figure out how to get through the day, it's really hard and really wild. So, those people that were like, what are you going to do in 5 years? What are you going to do in 10 years? I literally would look at them like they were crazy because I was not going to be alive in 5 years. There was no fucking way I was going to be alive in 10 years. So my 30th birthday party was a really big deal because I made it to 30. But it was also like, what now? Like, I literally am at the end of the road I thought I would be at. Like, I felt on my 30th birthday, I imagine like somebody feels on their 95th birthday. Like, well, I guess I just sit and play Sudoku and watch The Price is Right and The Young and the Restless for the rest of my life because there's not much time left. Like, that's what I felt on my 30th birthday. And I'm still actively, to this day, trying to get over that, because when you are living in the wrong body and as the wrong, like, representation to the world, that is so wild. It's so hard to describe. The toll that takes, and it is literally like being imprisoned. And there gets a point where you just get so numb to it, and you get to a point where you're like, well, if death comes, that's easier, So that's what it felt like, and sometimes still does. Where I know that I'm out of that prison, but I'm still sort of in that prison. Like, I still haven't had top surgery. I'm having issues with my testosterone. I don't know if I told y'all that. I was doing the testosterone cream, but apparently my skin is too silky fucking smooth and doesn't have enough open pores to, like, actually soak that up. So I had to switch recently to the gel, which is super expensive. Although I will say at this current moment, my insurance is covering most of it. But with the Trump thing, I'm sure that'll change. But right now, today, it's fine. But so I had to switch to an alcohol-based gel in hopes that my skin would be more absorbent to that. So I think that it's working. We'll see. But apparently my numbers were really low for a really long time. I'm hoping that all of a sudden I will sprout a beard. But again, I do have really fucking tiny pores. I have been told by so many people that get up close to my face when I'm putting makeup on for theater or whatever, and they don't know that I'm trans, which is hilarious. And they get up to me and they look at my face and they go, oh my God, your skin is beautiful. You would make a beautiful drag queen. And I can't help it, I bust out laughing. And that's when I tell them that I'm trans, and then they are literally gobsmacked. And it's hilarious. So anyways, this has been a real random episode. We've gotten deep, we've gotten intriguing with transgender ducks. I fucking can't. I love it. If Claire wasn't scared of birds, I might have a transgender duck. No, probably not. I don't like birds very much. Bird poops a lot. It's very gross. Gets everywhere. It stinks. Ugh. Anyways, on that note, I hope y'all have a wonderful week and a wonderful morning, noon, night, whatever the fuck this is for you. And I will talk to you in a few days. And go research transgender ducks on TikTok. It's great. All right. Bye, bitches.